Afternoon, folks. Welcome back to Warhammer Wargaming. Today we're going to be taking a real quick look at the rules update that was released for the 10th edition, the Errata that came out. Some of these things are just simple error corrections, but other ones are significant impacts, and we're going to take a quick look at those. A lot of people have already hit it, but I kind of want to, in order to talk about a few of the things that are maybe a little bit more important to me and the casual player. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So first up, mortifiers, don't care too much about that. That's just an error correction. The more important one here, Dominion Squad. Ranged weapons bolt gun went from Assault Rapid Fire 2 down to Assault Rapid Fire 1. Now, I understand this. That makes more sense. Their bolt guns are in line with everybody else's. The thing is, Sisters are not doing that great right now. I think that once again, the lose units in order to make, or not lose units to gain miracle dice, but also lose members of the unit in order to make the rest of the unit better, is hard to deal with in a toughness 3 army, because the whole unit often gets wiped in the process of doing that. Now, the 10-member Dominion and Battle Sister squads are maybe a little bit better positioned to do that than 5-member minimum size units were, but I think that they're struggling a little bit, and this kind of made Dominions really, really worth it, which was good, because right now Retributors are looking like they're kind of overpriced. So I don't know that this may actually drive Sisters further down into the lower ranks, and I have to say, I think the Sisters had their moments, especially during Armor of Contempt era in 9th edition, where they were quite good. But a lot of times they were an overrated army. They were not bad. They were always, I would say, at least in the top half, right around maybe the barrier between the middle third and the top third, even when they weren't putting up a lot of podium finishes at tournaments. But I think they were often rather overrated. I noticed they were often being listed as a top army, even when you weren't really seeing them as consistent winners. And I have a feeling they're going to be doing worse in 10th edition. Especially with changes like this, which are obviously to correct an obvious error, but at the same time, maybe it was actually a little bit appropriate for the Dominion squad. Okay, now one last thing on that. Dominions are no longer fast attack, because there is no such thing as fast attack, but that was always their role, and a little bit of extra help in there probably would be good for them. Adeptus Custodes, we have some corrections here. Adding close combat weapons, firing decks, things that needed to be in there. Adeptus Mechanicus, same thing, obvious. Okay, can't take jump packs and transports, nobody else can either. Combat weapon, delete the, I'm not sure what in order to do, delete the heavy phosphor blaster profile. Okay. Add once per phase. This already came out for Eldari, that they could only use one strand of fate per day. This just adds to the errata. The Reaper launcher on the Autarch got changed to damage 1. Fusion pistol. These are mostly error corrections in here. These were annoying as heck when you were using the apps, though, because you try to do it and be like, why is this not? What is the error here? What is the problem? Why are my Manda Blasters not properly linking up with my other weapons, or something like that? And it was because the Warhammer 40,000 app did exactly what the rules said, and there was some minor errors in there. Way Leaper, same thing. Void, not a whole lot here. Fix the fusion profile. This is all pretty much bunch of fixes. Dark Reapers got their close combat. Well, there was a lot of missing close combat weapon stuff. Inari, it was clarified that you cannot give Drakari models enhancements if they're in an Inari army. You still can't. I understand the Avatar of Cain. I kind of understand Homunculus Covenants. The Solitaire and at least Jane Czar should be available. I disagree strongly with those. I think that those units should be permitted in our armies. The Solitaires and Jane Czar, if not the other Phoenix Lords. Let's see what else we got here. Fix the unit comp for Skyweavers. That's probably good. Okay, so more wording fixes here. Spirit Seer. This is a big one for Eldari.
So you need a unit in your command phase. You can return 1 destroyed bodyguard medal that unit. That means you have now had your rate of returning Wraithguard to your unit halved, but it is appropriately only in your own command phase. You can't do it in the opponent's anymore, which probably should have been able to do. Fix the Storm Guardians with the special weapons. Fix the Striking Scorpion Exarch. That one was weird. Wave Serpent Twin Star Cannon goes to attacks too, so no longer gets the benefit of being twin linked and double attacks. I saw that one coming, but I was putting Star Cannons on on my single Wave Serpent that I own in the hopes of getting to use it at least once like that, but I didn't get a game in before it happened. Oh well, that's fine. Probably be looking more heavily at missile launchers. As it stands right now, there is no reason whatsoever to ever use Twin Bright Lances on your Wave Serpent because you're already getting the wound rerolls from the army and detachment stuff, and getting the twin linked on that single shot is not useful. Probably would go with the missile launchers. It's still not useful on the crack missiles, but if you use the frag type missiles, I can never remember what they're called, it might be worthwhile. Or I may stay with the Star Cannons on that. Clarified, you can only use the Wave Serpent in your shooting phase. Its shield ability to inflict mortal wounds. Let's see what else we've got. Delete retinue is fixed, I guess, to say entourage. Astra Militarum. I don't know what that's all about. I don't quite know what the Aegis defense line does, and I'm not going into that. Looks like it fixed some errors here in their squad composition stuff. Ursula Creed got fixed. To clarify here, Black Templars, the Castellan, High Marshal Helbrecht, and the Marshal all got fixed to have proper keywords. Definitely useful. Primary Sword Brethren got a Twin Lightning Claws. I don't know if that's something that was missing or something new. I'm going to guess that it was probably something missing. Oh, yes, you can, and if you're Black Templars, you can now attach anything that could be attached to an Intercessor squad to a Sword Brethren squad. Let's see here. Bale Predators for Blood Angels now explode properly. Death Company Dreadnought is now a Dreadnought. Furioso Dreadnought is now a Dreadnought, and so is the Librarian Dreadnought. All good news. Blue Horror, some fixing there. Same thing, Great Unclean One got its ranged weapon fixed to properly be a torrent weapon, or rather, not applicable ballistic skill on it. And let's see, Chaos Space Marines. The Chaos Lord now can get a Chain Fist or Power Fist. It's fixed, so it's proper now. More Rhino firing deck fixes. Chaos Terminator squads now get their 4+ invul. And Chosen, let's see. Oh yes, this took me forever to figure out when I was trying to make the army lists. I was like, why could I not get the Chosen to resolve the errors? I screwed around with this because I knew you were supposed to be able to replace the bolt gun with a combi, or the bolt gun with a combi weapon. But what I eventually did figure out that you had to replace the bolt pistol is, it really threw me for a loop. So is it actually supposed to be like that? Are they supposed to have a bolt gun and a combi weapon? Sure, it was an error, and it turns out that it is. But it made me really wonder if I had been misreading the old codex or something like that. And then I was on vacation, I couldn't reference it to figure it out. So I did kind of rack my brain about that one. But that should greatly reduce frustration trying to make your Chosen. I like this a lot too. Because now the Chosen are they're not really shooting army, so I'm glad I don't have to worry that they have the wrong kind of combi weapon modeled. That's actually one change about this edition that I really like, was that the different kinds of combi weapons and then the cost of putting them on there, it always made them kind of not worth it. And you'd always kind of wonder, do I have the right ones? Should I pick a different one? Blah, 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 blah. I'm glad that combi weapons are all just now combi weapons. Okay, Cultist Mob.
This is all correct now. Legionnaires. Some got fixed here. So that they can have the proper plasma pistol and chainsword. Heavy Havoc autocannon got its ballistic skill fixed. Added the close combat weapon back to the Raptors, who happen to be carrying flamers or something like that. Let's see, Dark Angels. It gets some more fixes here of the blindingly obvious Death with the Terminator squad. Yeah, no kidding. Some of these errors, they have to be fixed because you have to police this stuff up. Stuff like this sometimes. Ranged weapons, plague, bolt pistol, added pistol. Yeah, no, duh, it's a pistol. That's the kind of thing somebody, no, it's not a pistol because it doesn't have the keyword. Okay, yes, technically it doesn't, but it says in the name that it is a pistol. So that should, if I was a tournament organizer, I would probably rule this is an auto-correcting, as a self-correcting error. We know it's a pistol, and we will rule it's a pistol until Games Workshop does what they did here and correctly makes it a pistol. Let's see. We got more pistol stuff here. I understand Death Guard players are a little bit upset that they didn't somehow get a buff in here, but this is an errata. This is not a balance patch. And I do feel a little bit bad. I understand Death Guard is even weaker than Sisters, and I kind of knew that. I could tell that coming into it. They have that their army ability, the Revolting Stench or whatever it's called. I think, can't remember off the top of my head. It's one of those ones at first glance it looks like, holy cow, you can just dominate the battlefield with this thing, and then you realize the Death Guard are slow and they're not in large numbers, and it's pretty easy to play around, especially earlier in the game when there's fewer of them, or more of them, but the circles are smaller. Death Watch, not too much there. Drukari. Fixed a bunch of units here. This one here, really, this wins the award. I love this one. Yeah, the Void Raven Bomber now is flying. That's another one of. If they don't have fly on an aircraft, that's another one. Don't do that. Don't try to claim your opponent's bomber is not able to fly because they didn't put in the keywords. Technically, no, you're just no. That's just not being decent. That's not being a good player. That's not if you're going to lose a game because if you're going to win a game because you managed to nitpick out that Games Workshop forgot to put fly on an aircraft, you don't deserve to win that game. And if you win it that way, you should not be doing that. Okay, good stuff here for witches. But yeah, God, I love that. This was my eyes almost popped out of my head when I first saw that one. I just could not believe it. And let's see, Gene Stealer cults. I kind of don't. I'm not sure exactly what the significance of this change is. I have to go look at the older one. I don't think it's anything mass. It seems like it's just a clarity change. Okay, the demolition. I understand. I have not played against Gene Stealer cults. Well, I haven't played anything in 10th edition. I've only ever played against them once. But this here, I understand this was causing a real problem of just excessive number of demolition charges. So now you're limited to 1 per battle round, which sounds a little more appropriate. Let's see here. Imperial Knights. Okay, you can't. Yeah, if you're playing Imperial Knights, you're no longer having people deny you your command points by arguing that you can only gain 1 per round. Single hit roll and single wound roll. Okay, that's probably a bit of a nerf. The enemy unit. And so it's limited to a particular enemy unit now, not all of them. And anything else here that's super interesting? Oh, yes, the Necrons. Apparently his obelisks or
menhirs or whatever they were, the two big stones that follow him around, they could explode before. Now it's only him that can explode. That was also kind of amusing. I mean, I kind of don't see why they couldn't, but you don't want the submodels of the whole unit like killing the main unit with mortal wounds if you have to roll badly. That's kind of not cool. So probably this is another very amusing change. I didn't know that they could do that. I've only ever played one game against Necrons. Did run into the Silent King. This is back beginning of ninth, early ninth. So that's funny. Not as funny as the non-flying bomber, but still funny. A whole bunch of corrections here for the orcs. You can't put Gazgul in a truck anymore. Let's see, what else? Add flamer, grav guns, melted guns, and plasma guns to the army profile. Assault squad, a bunch of corrections. Now, assault squads are going to, for all intents and purposes, become Vanguard veterans very quickly. So this might be Mox Nix before we know it. Ballistus Dreadnought is now a Dreadnought. Captain Gravis Armor is now a leader. Captains can have plasma pistols again, which is good. That was definitely another one that made me raise my eyebrow a little and wonder if I'd missed something. So can captains with the jump packs. Boosts the grav weapons there, the damage 2, that's a big help. Let's see what else. Oh, Librarian with jump pack now has deep strike, that's pretty essential. Let's see. That one is more than just a simple correction. When something doesn't have deep strike but can lead a unit that does, that just greatly limits and impacts you. Tau. And a bunch of AP fixes here. Not actually sure off the top of my head if these are buffs or nerfs. I did not actually have its missile pod on the Sun Shark, which is Forge World unit. Never faced these, despite playing Tau many times. Now, quite a few times now, I've never actually faced a Sun Shark yet. Let's see, what else we got? Thousand Suns. Temporal Surge, if the unit does, it cannot declare a charge. That could be a significant limitation on them. There's a lot of units, a lot of rules do this, and if they were able to charge when they weren't supposed to be able to, that maybe could have been pretty impactful. Although, on the other hand, I don't think Thousand Suns are really exactly a devastating melee army. I don't think they're bad, and they're still Marines. But I don't think that they've ever heavily emphasized melee. Fixed a bunch of weapons. Oh yeah, barb guns. In the shooting phase, select one enemy infantry. One of these attacks made by this unit's biocannons. That enemy unit is disrupted. Now you can only do it one enemy unit per unit you have. You can't split fire and disrupt everything all over the place. That's probably bringing things into line the way they ought to be. Anything with indirect fire, I believe this is an indirect fire ability, but even if it's not, this kind of thing, this would be perhaps less impactful, but in the similar vein of the Eldari support weapons. Disclaimer, I do not own any. Despite owning an Eldari army, I do not own a single support weapon. And the excessive fate dice, this might be weaker, but in the same, like, feels bad kind of vein. Let's see here. Enhance flavor card once per battle round when you make a blade for it. So this thing was probably just people going bonkers spamming this or something. Rhino got fixed like everything else, and Power Fist got corrected to weapon skill 3+, and I think that's everything. Okay, so overall, we have some funnies, and we have a few that are really impactful, and then tons and tons of really important but common sense fixes, and of course my absolute favorite of just the errors like this are just, they're priceless. I'm kind of glad when they occur because they give us something to laugh at. Anyhow, that's all I have for today. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment down below, and click the notifications bell for more great content from Wilderness Wargaming, and we'll see you back very soon. Bye-bye.